Good morning. Today, what I want to do is I want to bring us back in some history. And the history that I'm talking about is the history of the Japanese in World War II. What I have is I have the Arisaka Type 99 rifle. It was made from 1939 to 1945, the end of the war. It was the main number one rifle that the infantry used throughout the Japanese conquests and eventually their downfall in the war. This rifle in particular was made in 1944. And the way that we can tell that it was made in 1944 and it was made in Nagoya, which was they had 9 different places where they were making the rifles. 7 were in Japan, 2 were in Korea, but this one was made in Nagoya. Is on the side, bang the lights. You can see here numbers. They're both in Arabic, and there's a number made in Japanese also. So what they did was, before in the 1930s, they would make their rifles sequential, just like we do, for the most part. And what they did, and that's once the war started, and they were making them in all these different places. They wanted to be able to tell where it was being made. So what they did was they assigned a type number, and the type number went before the serial number. And each place arsenal that was making these guns was assigned certain numbers, and that way there they could tell. For instance, Nagoya was issued numbers 1 through 8, and I'm sorry, 1 through 12. And there's a place called Kakura that was issued the numbers 20 through 25. And it's like, well, what happened is, like I said, they had the sequential numbers, and then they decided to put these type numbers in front. They only went from number 1 to 99,999. And then what happened was when they would reach the 100,000 number, boom, number 1. Next 100,000, boom, number 2. And they would go up there. So you can assume then that if there was 12, then the Nagoya made that many guns. 12 times 100,000, so 1,200,000 guns. So anyway, so that's what they did. Uh, this is also called the last ditch rifle, and they call this the last ditch rifle because initially the Type 99 were beautiful guns. They had, the Japanese, the older guns, they have all this elaborateness with engraving and all this stuff, and this one has none of it. This is 1944. Japanese were not doing well in the war. Their resources were very low, so their weapons over time, the Type 99 got less elaborate and more streamlined, and because they didn't have the resources, and also because it was easier for them to make, they were able to whip them out quicker than if they were to put all that other stuff. On the back here, of the back of the bolt, there used to be a chrysanthemum. You can see it was a beautiful chrysanthemum. This one just has an old nasty looking thing because that's what they just put that on there. On all the guns, there was a chrysanthemum right here on the ring, and the chrysanthemum here had been ground off. And the chrysanthemum was the symbol for the emperor, and so that it was the emperor's gun because it had the chrysanthemum on it. So what they did was they would grind the after the surrender, they would grind the chrysanthemum off so that it was no longer the emperor's gun, and it saved face for the Japanese to be able to surrender their weapons. The as a show of the lack of resources, you can see it has a wooden butt plate on it instead of a metal one, and it's just nailed on there. The buttstock itself, instead of being one piece, it's little pieces that are put together, mitered together. It's beautiful the way it's done. Like I said, it's bolt action, and it cocks on when you close the bolt. The bolt, we'll go over it, is very similar to a Mauser bolt. It has a Mauser type release for the Mauser type release for the for the for the bolt. The serial numbers again, like I said, it's 1, then the serial number, and then there's a symbol after it for for the actual arsenal where it was made, and it's I can't describe the thing. It's the symbol for Nagoya. The site used to be a very beautiful site. It had it was a leaf site that came up, and it had these beautiful things that folded out. And what the things that folded out were for is for aircraft. And the Japanese had a team where they had a slow-moving aircraft. The team would get together and they would use their sights and these guns. And because it was a heavy round, like in their machine guns, they would fire at these aircraft, and they could take it down. They could take down the slow-moving aircraft. And, but you can see now that it's just a peep sight. I'm not sure how accurate it is. I'm not sure. I mean, the similar ones that the British had, they called them 300-yard sights, battle sights. I'm not sure if that's true about this gun or not. It's got the 5-round magazine. It has this band. This band does not really come off, but what it does is it holds the two pieces of wood together. Instead of having one long piece of wood for the bottom for the stock, it's 2 pieces because there wasn't enough wood for that. Up here with the bayonet lug, and the bayonet lug, instead of having a, a beautiful ornate band, what it's got is this just a piece of steel, and you can see where it's tack welded on to the barrel, and it's not coming off. This gun was not made to be taken apart. This gun was made for use, and the limited use that was going to have happen because, well, we all know how the war ended. So I'm going to take the bolt out. Okay, the bolt looks a lot like a Mauser bolt. It's got the Mauser extractor right here. It's got the Mauser lugs on it. Um, one of the differences in the Japanese had come up with this was the Mauser was it's difficult to get the firing pin out. I mean, you have to really muscle it and get it out. The British, their firing pins, to get them out, you have to have a special tool to do that. The Americans, to get our firing pin out, it was a lot like the Mauser firing pin to get that out. So, but what the Japanese did was they came out with an idea, and you have this. Let's see if I can do it. Just take this back off you like this, and there's your firing pin. And it's easy to clean. It's and then you just put it back together again, and then it's back together again. There you go. You do that in the field really easy, and you're done. So anyway, that's the Arisaka Type 99. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I had forgotten about it. Oh, the finish on this thing, they used a plant to make the hard coating on it, and that plant that they used is a lot like poison ivy, and that they use that for the sap. So it made it. They claimed it was an impermeable coating on these guns, so that to make them waterproof and whatever, especially since I mean they were fighting a lot in the jungles and whatever. The problem with it is that it comes off. I mean, to a certain degree. If you're working with it and you're rubbing it a lot, your hands will start, they'll burn a little bit because of it. And I've done that where I've had to do some work up on this thing here, and I was getting it on my hands and then getting it on my face because I'm always rubbing my face, and my face started to burn. A lot of servicemen that brought these things home at the end of the war wanted to refinish them to make them look the way they wanted them to look, and the dust that was made off, they inhaled the dust or they get it on them and they had problems with it. I don't think that was an intention of the Japanese to do that. I think it was just a byproduct of what they were using for a product. The reddish color is on this here is just a shellac type thing that they used for coloring. And that's about it for the Arisaka 99. And thanks for watching. Bye.